A quiet morning breeze rolled through the entrance of a U.S. naval base. Cars lined up for security checks, engines idling, sunlight glinting off windshields. In one of those cars sat Elena Brooks, her dark sunglasses hiding calm but watchful eyes. Beside her, in the passenger seat, was her 7-year-old son, Leo, smiling and holding a toy helicopter. This was a big day for him, his first time seeing where his mom worked. Elena kept her military ID ready. She didn't look intimidating. Casual clothes, soft posture, motherly smile. But appearances deceive. At the gate, 2 young security contractors, Reynolds and Kane, lounged against their booth. Unprofessional, distracted, careless. Reynolds glanced at Elena's ID, then at her. He scoffed. "This base is restricted, ma'am. Military personnel only." Elena replied calmly, "I am military personnel. Check the clearance level again." Kane laughed quietly. "What, are you like a secretary inside, a chef? Cute ID photo, though." Leo frowned, gripping his toy tighter. Elena stayed composed, like she'd trained herself in far worse situations. Reynolds leaned toward the window. "Look, sweetheart, you can't just drive in here. Take the kid and head home." He handed her ID back like it was fake. Elena stepped out of the vehicle to clear up the misunderstanding politely. Leo insisted on staying close. The guard stepped toward them, annoyed. Kane muttered, "These attention-seeking moms." Reynolds shoved Elena in the shoulder, hard enough to push her off balance, right in front of her son. Leo gasped, "Mom!" The world shifted in that instant. Elena didn't stumble back. She planted her heel, regained posture instantly, like a predator correcting itself. Her sunglasses slid slightly down her nose, revealing a pair of eyes trained for war. Her voice was ice-cold, calm. "You just laid hands on a U.S. Navy officer." Reynolds rolled his eyes. "Sure, and I'm the president." Kane smirked, nudging his friend. "She thinks she's special ops or something." Elena didn't react, didn't raise her voice, didn't posture. She simply picked up her sunglasses and placed them on Leo's head. A silent signal. A mother turning into a warrior. The guards tried to escort her away. Wrong move. Elena stepped forward, slow, controlled. She handed her ID back firmly. Reynolds looked again, this time properly. The color drained from his face. He swallowed hard. Uncovered. Active duty. Navy SEAL. Special Operations Command. Clearance. Top secret. Kane froze. Reynolds stuttered. "You're a SEAL?" Elena leaned slightly closer. "I've served 14 years. 5 combat deployments. I've carried brothers out of firefights you can't even imagine." Her tone wasn't angry. It was truth. Leo stepped closer, still scared. Elena rested her hand on his shoulder, steady, reassuring. Then she whispered, calm enough only her son could hear, "It's okay. Mom's got this." The guards scrambled, radioing their chief in panic. "Sir, we have a Tier 1 operator here." Static responded, followed by urgency. Within seconds, a base patrol vehicle rushed in. Another group of officers stepped out, older, disciplined, aware. The lead officer took one look at her ID. Then his entire posture changed. He snapped to attention, heels together, chin raised. "Ma'am, welcome home." Reynolds and Kane turned pale. The difference between boys with uniforms and warriors who earned them became painfully clear. Elena crouched to meet Leo's eyes. "Ready to see where Mom works?" Leo nodded, excitement returning to his face. But as they walked forward, the lead officer radioed a message urgently. "Notify command. We have Lieutenant Commander Elena Brooks on base." Guardians, a code name, a reputation, a whisper among elite units. Reynolds stared speechless. Kane stepped back like he'd seen a ghost. The tension around the baggage claim spiraled into something almost cinematic. Which should have been a routine wait for suitcases was now a stage, and every passenger had become an audience. The two loud men, self-appointed kings of the space, kept pushing and barking orders at others, absorbing attention like a storm cloud. They didn't notice the quiet danger standing just a few steps away. One of them refused to move aside for a senior lady trying to get her luggage. Emma observed, lips pressed tightly. Her son Leo looked up at her with a soft whisper. "Mom, they're being mean." She placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "Some people need help learning respect, but we only help when necessary." Leo nodded, as if he understood more than an 8-year-old should. But then the moment changed. A woman nearby lost her grip on her suitcase as the conveyor pushed it toward the edge. Emma instinctively stepped forward, but she wasn't fast enough. The same rude man bumped her out of the way, causing her to stumble forward right in front of Leo. Leo gasped, fear instantly replacing the excitement he had moments before. Emma regained balance, calm, controlled, but the fire inside her ignited. The man scoffed loudly. "Watch where you're going, sweetheart." That word, that tone. Leo's tiny fists clenched. Emma's eyes sharpened. Still, she stayed silent, because silence is the loudest warning. Across the terminal, 2 security officers began walking over, clearly aware that something was brewing. But before they could intervene, the second man leaned in to Emma with a smug grin. "You gotta keep your kid in check. This place gets rough." Then it happened. He shoved Leo aside with a careless arm swing. Leo fell back, hitting the floor. That was the moment the world stopped. Passengers gasped. The older woman, who'd been ignored, covered her mouth. Leo looked up, not hurt seriously, but his pride, his trust, bruised. Emma lowered to one knee beside him. "Are you okay?" He nodded softly. Her hand brushed his cheek, then she stood. And when she did, Emma Hayes was no longer the tired mother from Flight 709. She was a Navy SEAL with 18 years of service, a warrior forged in the deadliest shadows on Earth. The air changed. Everyone felt it. Even the men. Their laughter faded as they saw her posture shift, the straight spine, the steady breath, the warrior's stillness. But they didn't yet understand the magnitude of their mistake. She stepped closer, calm as a loaded rifle. "You shoved my son," she said, voice low and unwavering. The first man chuckled nervously, pushing bravado forward like a shield. "Relax! It's just a kid." Her reply cut through the room like a blade. "That kid is the only reason you're still breathing. No yelling, no threats, just truth." The bigger man rolled his shoulders, about to step forward again, but security finally reached them. "All right, folks, that's enough. Everyone calm down," the officer said. The man pointed accusingly at Emma. "This woman attacked me and my buddy." He didn't even finish before Leo stood up and shouted, "They pushed my mom! They pushed me!" Every witness in the area nodded, speaking up in agreement, voices layering over each other. "They started it! She did nothing wrong! That woman helped all of us!" Emma didn't move. She didn't need to. Truth was fighting for her. One officer spoke into his radio. The other tilted his head, eyeing Emma carefully. Her stance, her awareness. He recognized that kind of discipline. "Ma'am, I just need to see some ID so we can sort this out." Emma reached slowly into her jacket and pulled out her wallet. Inside, a government-issued military identification card. But not just any. Navy, Special Warfare Command, Lieutenant Commander Emma Hayes. The officer's eyes widened. He stepped back, straightened himself, and saluted. "Ma'am, I didn't realize." The noisy terminal fell silent again, but now for a different reason.
The two men who had shoved her were suddenly pale. One stuttered, "A seal? She can't be. They're all men." Someone in the crowd whispered the truth out loud. "Not anymore." Emma placed her ID back into her pocket and looked directly at the men. "If you touch another woman, child, or elderly person again, you won't have the luxury of excuses. No threats. A promise." Leo walked up beside her and took her hand. She looked down and smiled, all the steel in her fading away into warmth. Security escorted the men away, not because Emma demanded it, but because justice demanded it.
The automatic doors opened, letting in a gust of evening wind as Emma and her son stepped out of the airport. The chaos inside faded behind them, but the weight of the moment hadn't yet settled. Leo didn't let go of her hand. He kept looking up at her with a newfound awe, like he suddenly understood that his mother was not just a mom, she was a guardian. Emma smiled softly. "It's just part of the job, buddy." Leo frowned thoughtfully. "Does the job always mean fighting?" Her voice lifted with gentle wisdom. "No, the job means protecting. Fighting is only the last option." They walked toward a large armored SUV waiting near the curb. The driver stepped out, a man in uniform, offering a sharp salute. "Lieutenant Commander Hayes, welcome home, ma'am." Leo's eyes widened again. "Mom, they know you everywhere." She ruffled his hair with a grin. "Not everywhere, just where respect matters." The ride took them through a coastal highway. Waves crashing against rocks, the sun melting into the horizon. The base grew larger with each mile. Fenced perimeters, guarded gates, silent watchtowers. But this wasn't just a typical Navy installation. It was a classified special warfare facility, home to some of the most elite operatives in American history. As the SUV rolled to a stop, Emma saw a large banner hung near the entry walkway. "Welcome back, Silver Strike." Leo read it aloud, confusion across his face. Silver Strike? Emma glanced away modestly. The driver smiled, as if ready to tell a story. "That's her, kid." Leo blinked. His mother had a code name? Emma sighed, playfully dramatic. "I told them not to do that." But Leo's eyes sparkled like a kid discovering his mom is secretly a superhero. Because, in a way, she was. Inside the base, sailors and officers lined up spontaneously as she passed. Some saluted crisply, others whispered, "That's Lieutenant Commander Hayes, the one from Darien Gulf, the operation nobody talks about." Leo heard every word, his chest puffed with pride. Emma tried to wave them off modestly. This attention always made her uncomfortable. Respect matters, yes, but she never believed heroism belonged to one person. Every mission had a team. Every victory had a cost. They arrived at a massive steel door guarded by two armed SEALs. One scanned Emma's ID before pulling the door open. Inside, a different energy. Dim lights, tactical gear, maps pinned to screens, a heartbeat of strategy and shadows. A tall figure stepped forward. A man with deep lines of experience carved across his face. Rear Admiral Jonathan Pierce. He had commanded operations she had led, missions that history would never be allowed to know. He extended his hand. She shook it firmly. "Welcome back, Emma." Leo stood behind her nervously. The Admiral crouched slightly to her height. "And who's this warrior?" Leo straightened like he had seen in movies. "Leo Hayes, sir." The Admiral laughed warmly. "Strong name. Let's take good care of your mom here. She's one of our best." Emma raised an eyebrow. "One of? I thought I was your favorite." They all chuckled, tension dissolving into familiarity. Then the Admiral motioned for them to follow him down a long hallway. As they walked, he spoke in a tone that carried weight. "Word reached us about the airport incident. You didn't escalate. That alone shows more strength than any punch could." Emma nodded.
True power doesn't brag, it protects. The admiral stopped and turned toward her, eyes sharp. Protecting is what this next mission is all about. Leo looked up, brows pinched. Mission? Emma rested a hand on her shoulder. Don't worry, we're just learning about it. But she knew. This wasn't a normal debrief. This wasn't a coincidence. They needed her urgently. The admiral opened a briefing room door, screens flickering on as they entered. A map of the Sahel region in Africa appeared, with red markers and satellite footage of hostile activity. Leo sat near the corner, watching his mother transform again into the commander she kept hidden from the world. The admiral's voice darkened. A kidnapped scientist, a new silent weapon, and a team already in trouble. Emma listened, jaw.
The briefing room lights dimmed, leaving only the glow of satellite feeds reflecting across Emma's face. Leo sat quietly, but his eyes never left his mother. He could sense the shift, the calm before storm he didn't fully understand. Rear Admiral Pierce tapped a console. A grainy video appeared. A convoy ambushed in a desert valley. The footage cut to black just before an explosion lit up the sky. This was 48 hours ago, the Admiral said, voice low. Our team, Bravo unit, never checked in. Emma's posture straightened. They're alive. Not a question, a statement. Born from instincts honed through years of missions. Pierce nodded slightly. We believe so, but they're outnumbered and cornered. Leo swallowed hard. Mom, you're going to help them? Emma knelt beside him, placing both hands gently on his shoulders. Helping people is what I do, Leo. But I always come back. Always. He blinked away the tears threatening to form. He wanted to be brave for her, like she was for everyone else. The world's quietest goodbye. Hours later, in the preparation hangar, the atmosphere hummed with electricity. Technicians loaded gear. SEALs fastened armor plates. Engines roared as aircraft were checked for deployment. Emma stood at the center, tying her hair back with the same calm she always carried before going into a fight. Leo stood with Pierce, watching her gear up piece by piece. Gloves, tactical vest, combat harness, blade, rifle case. The patch reading Silver Strike stitched onto her shoulder. She seemed to transform before the boy's eyes, from mom to legend. When she finally walked over to him, Leo hugged him so tightly that her vest creaked. Come back, Mom. She kissed the top of his head. I will, I promise. But even the strongest warriors know, every mission carries a shadow. Insertion. Night swallowed the desert as the aircraft glided silently. Emma stood in the open bay, wind ripping through her hair as she surveyed the mountains below. The co-pilot's voice came through her headset. LZ in 60 seconds. Emma's eyes narrowed. She could feel Bravo team, trapped somewhere in that valley. Wounded, surrounded, running out of time. Then came the call. Green light. Emma stepped into the blackness and dropped. The world spun into a controlled freefall. Sand, wind, darkness. She landed silently, like a shadow touching earth. Silver Strike had returned. The rescue. Minutes later, she located Bravo unit, pinned behind broken ruins, taking fire from militants positioned along a ridge. Their lieutenant looked up in disbelief. Silver Strike? They sent you? Emma took position beside him. Stop talking. Start pointing. He pointed. She moved. The battlefield erupted. Emma's movements were precise, each shot clean, each step controlled. She wasn't just fighting. She was unbreaking a team the world depended on. The militants weren't prepared for her speed or her accuracy. Within minutes, the ridge fell silent. The lieutenant exhaled, shaking his head. We thought we were done. Emma scanned the ridge again. Not today. The real threat. Just as she radioed the extraction signal, a figure approached from the shadows. tall, armed, confident. He stepped into the moonlight. Emma froze. It was Koresh, a former ally, a ghost from her darkest mission, a man she once believed was dead. He smirked. "Hello, Silverstrike." The lieutenant whispered. "Do you know him?" Emma whispered back. "I buried him." Koresh lifted a detonator. "Your rescue ends here." But before he could press it, a single shot sliced through the air. Koresh dropped instantly. Emma spun, ready to identify the shooter. It wasn't Bravo team. It wasn't backup. It wasn't her. The unexpected savior. Up on the mountain ridge stood a small silhouette, holding a sniper rifle far too big for his tiny frame. Leo, the boy she left behind. Emma's breath vanished. "Leo." He waved nervously. The lieutenant blinked. "Is that your kid?" Emma almost collapsed. Leo called down. "Uncle Pierce brought me. He said you'd need extra eyes." Pierce stepped into view behind him, supporting the heavy rifle and giving Emma a sheepish shrug. He insisted. Emma's heart raced. Fury, fear, relief, pride, all clashing inside her. But the danger was gone, and her son had just saved her life. The return. Back at base, dozens gathered on the runway. SEALs, officers, deck crews. Every one of them. But then something unheard of happened. Every operator, every commander, every soldier on the deck saluted Leo. The boy froze. Emma knelt beside him, whispering, "This salute isn't for what you did today. It's for the courage you showed before that." Leo looked up at her. "Does this mean I'm brave like you?" She smiled softly. "No. It means you're brave like you." Final moment. A legend, a mother. As reporters arrived, trying to break through the line of officers, Leo held his mom's hand tightly. One shouted, "Is it true your son saved an elite SEAL team?" Emma stood tall. "My son reminded me of something every soldier must remember." She looked down at him with the proudest mom a smile could give. That even the strongest warriors fight hardest when they're fighting for family. The cameras flashed. The world watched. A mother, a boy, a legend reborn.